Hey guys, this is Nice Lego Maniac, and here's finally, after a long time, I don't even know how long, here is my custom Avengers showcase. Now I don't even know what version this is. This is the latest version that I finished last year, and now I can finally show it to you. Originally it was just like Hawkeye and Black Widow, because before like Infinity War came out, I wanted to do like, I just want to I want to make all the Avengers, but based on appearance that I like. So it was like for Black Widow and Hawkeye, I liked their outfit in the first movie, and for like Captain America and the rest, it would have been like something else. But in the end, I decided to just why not make it like the first Avengers movie is like a recap, and just like it'd be nice to have like the original Avengers from the first movie before when I make the Endgame figures based on the same characters, just in a different look. I just think it would be interesting when I do that as well. So here's all 6 characters and the 6 original Avengers. I finished these like sometime last year. Definitely finished these like before the Marvel Phase 2 villains. I don't even know when I'm gonna finally release that, but hey, in the near future, who knows. So, without further ado, let's just continue with this showcase. For the first figure we have is Captain America, based on his 2012 like outfit. Now, obviously, this isn't like everyone's favorite outfit. But for me, it's fine because it works well as like almost look like a classic Captain America. So starting from the top, what I did, I took this like new Captain America helmet. I sanded off the back and sanded off like the edge a little bit, so it kind of has like accurate helmet shape. I also sculpted the ear as well. I did not paint the wings; those are from the actual Lego piece. And I also sculpted the A symbol on his helmet. And when I painted his head, I painted the mouth a lot lower than usual, and the reason why I did that is for the sake of the helmet. So you can see this humongous gap in between. That's just so like when I put on the helmet, the mouth doesn't really get in the way, and it works well for the illusion effect. So moving on to the torso, I actually wrapped the top part, the blue section, with a white E-tape. And I did that to give it a little more extra texture and just get that realistic feel. Remove the shield out of the way. I also sculpted the star. I just like put like a piece of Procreate, wait for that to dry, and I just cut out the star shape very carefully. I also sculpted like the wrist tops, and I actually hid like a little metal in there, a metal wire, so that way, because I had this magnet and a shield here, made this shield by having the little magnet, wrapped it with Procreate, glued it, and then glued all these fabric pieces. But I made sure one fabric piece actually has like a little loop, so that way it can actually go over his hand. I believe this is like a first time I actually, no, not the first time. This is a second time I've attempted a shield like this. The first time was like with a Civil War figure I made years ago. But I updated so that way the magnet's a bit lower, so that way the shield doesn't look like it's any higher. And that was the problem I had last time. The belt, I made that with the Lego Batman belt. I cut out the sides. I also glued it, and this was actually really hard to paint because the Lego Batman belt pieces are like kind of waxy, so when you paint on it, the sides can chip very easily. So the paint does not stay on very well. You can kind of see the little bit of yellow. And it was the same thing for my Deku, and so this is probably the last time I'll ever use these belt pieces because they just won't stay in place unless I do something to it, unless maybe if I put sealant on top and prime it, it wouldn't be as bad. The arms are very loose because it's just so the paint won't scrape off. I painted the rest of the figure, painted the legs. So yeah, this technically I guess you could say this is an Endgame custom because in Endgame they did travel back in time. But if this was an Endgame custom, I would have sculpted the ass. Yeah, that joke was never funny. People should stop spamming it because they're so unfunny. Bunch of lousy kids. The next figure we have is Iron Man, which is one of my favorite customs I've made in 2019. I believe that's when I made this figure. So, what I did, instead of going with LED, because the reason why I'm not doing LED for Iron Man figures, because if I'm going to make one Iron Man figure and then continue making more, then I just think it's just easier not to do LED unless it's something very, very, very specific. So what I did for this Iron Man, the best I could do is just make this like a really cool sculpted figure. So what I did here, I sculpted the chest and I sculpted the abs. And how I did this, I actually got in Mark 7 base. So I used that as a template, and I just sculpted on top of it, knowing where how big the chest should be, how big the abdomen should be. So that's why proportionally it looks very accurate to what a Lego Iron Man should be. The helmet is pretty much just Lego standard helmet because it's a fine helmet, and I have a lot of these. And if I want to make more Iron Man figures, I'm probably going to stick with this helmet from now in the future, unless if it's something very, very, very specific that I have to change it. So I painted all the HUD here. I made it better than the last previous attempts back then when I was making Iron Man figures. And what's different about this Iron Man figure? I believe the last Iron Man figure I made before this was like the Mark 47. I think it was a Mark. No, I think it's a Mark 50 from Infinity War, and that was the one with the LED. That was my first time fully attempting a sculpted helmet and all that. And I don't really like that figure all that much, to be honest. But it's like whatever. I used this. What I did, I painted this thing in silver first, acrylic silver, and then I went on top using acrylic transparent red, and that's why this figure kind of looks a little shinier than usual. It's the same thing what I did for my previous Iron Man figure, but it works so much for this. It just looks so good. And all the rest of the figures is pretty much painted and sculpted. I sculpted like the shoulder pads, I sculpted the wrist gauntlets, I sculpted the wrist, I also sculpted like the thigh armor, and I also sculpted the back. Now what's so interesting about the back, so you can see the chest armor, it goes up to the top of the torso and continues. And what I did for the back is really interesting because I actually had magnets in here so I can make functioning air flaps. And this was something I haven't done at all, and I thought it was really interesting. So how you can activate these air flaps, just need to like position these and just like connect them on the sides, because it's like because they have like the north and south pole, it's really hard to just like have this on top of each other because it's just going to repel. This is one way how to make it look accurate. So that way when you have this here, this is what it looks like with the air flaps in use. And it looks really, really cool. Now, alternatively, I could just do this because it is a lot more stable this way, but it's not accurate because this is the back of the flap though. So yeah, that's I tried the air flap because I wanted to do something really cool and special for this Iron Man. But I probably won't do this ever again. This is just something very special, and it's just like a once in a lifetime thing. But maybe I will do it again in the future for Iron Man suits, but as for right now, this is all I'm gonna do for the Iron Man. Next figure is Thor, and he was like the second to last figure that I actually finished. I finished him like during my my semester at FIT, during the fall semester. I haven't made a lot of customers during that time because I was just super busy. Class was just so stressful. I didn't have time to do like to have any free time. And if I do have the free time, I was going on dates with my girlfriend. So so if I had to choose between Lego or my girlfriend, obviously I'm gonna go with the latter. So okay, so going over this figure, this is probably the best like 2012 Thor I've ever made, and I don't think I can get any better from here. So the hair is actually the Luke Skywalker hairpiece, and I think this works very, very well for this Thor figure. The hair, it's the shape of it is just very accurate. I've been using this hair a lot. You'll see on my Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan. So removing the hammer away. So the head's just like a standard like Thor head. Give him a smirk because he's smiling. He's all cool. The cape, that's actually a leftover fabric I had. The reason why I made the cape like this because he does have the chest armor that goes over, such as these buttons, and I feel like the best way to portray it is just to go like this. I can't just use a Lego standard cape and just like sculpt armor at the top. It's not gonna look good. So what I did, I actually combined it so that way the cape actually is actually connected to the torso. And I even painted some details on the back, but it's not a lot because there's not much to say. And yeah, painting all this silver detail was actually a lot of fun. Was it stressful? Sure, because of all these intricate details in the front here, with all the sculpted bits, with all the black outlines here. But in the end, it worked out very well. Now, and also, I actually use this. I gotta glue this like back down. The skirt piece is actually made out of E-tape, but because this figure is kind of old, the E-tape is kind of losing its adhesive. So I'm gonna have to like fix that, go over it again, and glue it probably. But yeah, so yeah, there's that skirt piece that just like does not like to stay. And this side of the Thor head got completely fucked up. I don't even know what happened here. So yeah, and for his helmet, what I did, I just took like a standard Mjolnir piece. I cut out a brown Lego rod. I carved out like the
the details all around. So you can see like this line here, the grooves. Yeah, I carved that with X-Acto knife. The bottom here, that's actually from a Harry Potter One Piece, and I glued fabric on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Thor, the God of Thunder himself, Prince of Asgard, and probably my best Thor figure I've ever made. And I don't know if I can make this. I don't know if I can make any Thor figures any better. This one will be relatively pretty simple. Hulk was actually a work in progress figure for over 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. And just like what I did for Abomination, how I managed to fill in these arms without wasting a lot of Procreate, I actually stuffed napkins inside. You can kind of see the napkins still in there. And after I stuffed the napkins in, then I went on top with Procreate to sculpt a thin layer, and it worked out really, really well. And so yeah, and the other things I sculpted were his pants, because this is an Age of an Age of Ultron. I won't say an Age of Extinction right there. Sorry, I'm in Transformers mood. This is the Age of Ultron Hulk base, because I think this is a great base for a Hulk. It has like the perfect hair, and it also has a perfect color, despite the fact that I pretty much painted over this. So I sculpted the pants. I painted like the little details, like such as the pockets and such. But yeah, all this was like sculpted because I just think you just need that extra 3D detail. I also did a little weathering on his chest to simulate like chest hair. I also painted the veins. So this figure is really, really simple. I also carved out like the toe markings here. So yeah, this is a really simple Hulk figure. There's really not much I can say. Yeah. You know, I mean, what can you do with a Hulk big fig? Yeah, not much, unless it's like a gladiator Hulk, am I right? Like when you have to completely make it. I might make a gladiator Hulk, I don't know. But as of right now, that is not in my list right now, and it's not my priority. So that's it for a Hulk. Next figure we have is Black Widow. Black Widow, it was a really simple figure. I think she was the first figure I started and finished back in like 2017 or 18. So yeah, this is nearly a 2-year-old figure, but it still holds up very, very, very well. So her hairpiece is a standard like Black Widow hairpiece I was introduced in Age of Ultron. I don't know where this head is from actually, but it works well for Scarlett Johansson for this figure. The torso I painted, I wrapped it with E-tape for the belts, and I sculpted like the Black Widow insignia, her buckle. I sculpted all these individual like tasers, wrist tasers she has here, and this was not easy. It took a lot of dry sculpting and a lot of gluing, and sometimes they'll fall off and I have to like glue them back on. It was a pain in the ass. Instead of using E-tape, I actually went with fabric for some reason for her leg pouches. I don't know why, but that's what I did, and it's gonna be like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this Black Widow figure. Even though it's a simple looking figure, she actually packs so much detail, and I'm really proud of how this turned out, and I think this figure holds up after 2 years. Last but not least, we have Hawkeye. Now, I know Hawkeye does not wear these glasses at all in the film, well, except for that one scene near the end after they captured Loki. But he didn't wear this during the Battle of New York. But why did I paint him with glasses? Because I think he looks cooler with glasses, and that's just my personal preference. And just like Black Widow, I finished him like nearly like 2 years ago, and he still holds up very, very, very well. Now, to start with like the head, I used this sleepy hair piece, and it works very well for like a Hawkeye figure. And I painted this head all by myself. I think this isn't completely painted. I don't think. Yeah. So yeah, and I painted like what I did for a little extra detail to give a nod to the comic book appearance. I did paint like dark purple for like the lens. And moving on to his torso. This top part here is actually E-tape. I actually wrapped this whole body in E-tape on certain sections to give it an extra texture and a little like depth to it. I also like sculpted like the buckles he has here. Now onto the back, this quiver is actually glued on. It kind of chipped a little bit because again, just like the Batman belt, yeah, the paint does not really stay on very well. But I painted it black. And what I did that's a bit different, and I actually like this. I actually sculpted on top of this as well to kind of get that shape of his quiver. So I really like that. His bow is a brick forged bow with like some little paint, with a very minor modification, which is like just adding the scope. And that was pretty much it for that. I just added the scope, and that was pretty much it. And it's a very simple bow. And I also like sculpted like pouches here, more buckles, and this was actually, yeah, and then this time this is actually E-tape. So I don't know why I went with fabric and somehow went to E-tape on this guy. I don't know what I was thinking back then, but hey, it is what it is. I also painted like all this like detail here on his arms. That was very tedious. I remember that being very tedious. This right here was also tedious too, because this is actually not painted. I actually sculpted. I forgot what these are. They're arrow guards. I don't know. It's one of those things you use so that way when you pull back on your bow, your fingers don't get blisters or anything. Yeah, because I've taken an archery class and we had something like this too. So yeah. Oh yeah. Fun fact: I'm also a left hand. I also use my left hand for to draw arrows, just like Hawkeye. So yeah, that's interesting because interesting fact about archery: if you know which eye is dominant, that determines like if you're left eye dominant, then you would hold the bow in your right hand. But if you're right eye dominant, then you hold the bow with your left hand, which most people do. Hawkeye is one of those few characters that I know of that's left eye dominant. Well, at least Jeremy Renner is. Hawkeye is. So I think that's pretty interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Hawkeye, and we're done with the rest of the Avengers. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you like this, please leave a like in the comment down below. Follow me on Instagram because I'm always there a lot, and hopefully I'll make more videos. I'm still not so sure. I probably won't upload anything at all during the semester if I'm being honest, because this is a very important year and I'm gonna have to be very busy. I'm gonna be very busy. Hope you guys are still safe during the pandemic, and until then, I'll see you guys later. So yeah, bye.